Tassif Anam here. Thank you for joining me. Let's start with the chat window. I see Rebecca writes. Let's see. Howdy, Tassif. Hope you're doing well. Hope to see you at the upcoming Dane County Caucus. Rebecca, thank you for joining. It's so wonderful to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And yes, I am planning to be there at the Dane County Caucus. I know it's coming up soon. And so I'm looking forward to that. So I'm very happy to see you join this live stream, Rebecca. Thank you so much. Terry writes, oh, Terry is giving me thumbs up. Thank you, Terry, for tuning in. I appreciate that. And so I don't have a whole lot to discuss today, but whatever I have to discuss, it's actually a pretty serious matter. And so I want to hear your thoughts as I'm speaking. And so feel free to share your comments in the chat window. If you have questions, you can write those questions as well. I'll try to pay attention to the chat window as I'm moving forward with the things that I want to discuss. Reportedly, 7 suspects were arrested for allegedly attacking police officers in New York City. This happened when New York PD officers were trying to disperse a crowd near a migrant shelter. According to an NBC report, a police spokesperson said that all of the 7 people arrested were migrants. Now, there's something else we know, so I'm going to share that information with you. A viewer writes, allegedly, it's all on video. Well, you know, that's how the legal process works. We have to use the term allegedly, even if you read the news reports, even if there were eyewitnesses, even if there was video, it's you know, legally you have to use the term allegedly. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Now, I am not a lawyer, but I have worked with lawyers in my life so far, and I've learned a lot of legal terms. So you know, thanks to the person who pointed this out, that I'm using the term allegedly. It's all on video. Well, I have to use the term allegedly. You know, like they say, innocent until proven guilty. That's really the point here. So when we look at the video, it's pretty obvious what's happening. We know what's going on. People can see. People can process the information. But as long as it's a police case, there's a court proceeding that has to be completed. We just have to use the term allegedly. We have to use words like accused. And so, you know, I'm just trying to follow the legal terms here. But I'm glad you pointed that out. Terry writes, I'm allegedly ticked off about it. Terry, thanks for sharing your thoughts. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but I understand people's frustration. And sometimes you reach such a point of frustration that, I mean, you don't know what to do other than to laugh. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So you are right. That incident is caught on camera. We know what happened. We know what's going on. But we have to use the term allegedly. And I know it may sound ridiculous, but, you know, respecting the legal terms and the legal process, that's what I'm doing. So anyway, let me move forward. Let me move forward. 4 migrants who were arrested in New York in this matter were released from jail. 4 migrants who were arrested. They are 19 years old, 21 years old, 24 years old. So fairly young adults. And at this age, people could be productive individuals. But these 4 migrants were arrested for allegedly attacking New York City police officers. let me read what comment here is. So Barb writes, coming to this late. Well, Barb, we just started 5 minutes ago, so thanks for joining. And Rebecca writes, they always try to water down who these people are. They are technically illegal aliens. Totally understand your legalese, though. Yes, people will use the term asylum seekers and other terms, but I see the term asylum seekers being used quite a bit. But no, these they are undocumented immigrants, they are illegal immigrants, they are illegal aliens, as Rebecca mentioned. So that's what I use. Sometimes I use the word migrant because it's short, but really I think I pointed out in every one of my videos that these are undocumented immigrants or illegal immigrants. And so in New York, these 4 migrants who were arrested for allegedly attacking New York City police officers, they were caught and released. They were released from jail. And guess what happened next? Guess what happened next? Let me look at the comments here. Hello from Nevada, Sally. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you're here. And so after being released from jail, these 4 migrants reportedly boarded a bus for California. The migrants arrested for attacking New York's law enforcement officers, America's law enforcement officers, were released from jail, and they reportedly got up on a bus to head towards California. Now, why California? You may be asking. I know that a lot of my viewers know why California, but some of you may have the question, why California out of all places? I mean, California is pretty far away from New York, so why did the migrants board a bus to go to California? Well, let me tell you, I cannot read the minds of the migrants, okay? I don't have special powers. I can't read people's minds. So I cannot answer that question. I cannot answer the question why they decided to board a bus and head towards California. But what I can do is tell you a few facts about California. And Sally writes benefits. Sally, I am coming to that. I'm going to be talking about benefits. Let me look at the chat window here. Rebecca writes, they said they showed disrespect for our laws. They did that the moment they crossed. Absolutely. Anyone, any foreign national who crosses the southern border to enter the United States illegally, they are violating, that person's violating our nation's immigration laws. And it's not just about crossing the border illegally. There's another problem which I talked about years ago, and every now and then I'll mention that, and that is there's a huge problem of visa overstay. So there are some folks, a lot of folks, millions of people actually, who cross the southern border and enter the United States illegally. And then there are also those people who get a visa and they come to the United States legally, and then they don't leave after their visa expires. So they overstay their visa, and at that point, they are violating, the terms of the visa. So that's also a big problem, visa overstay. And that's something I'm probably going to be talking about more in the future, because that's a huge issue. And actually, if you go to my blog, tausifanam.net, you search for the word visa overstay, you search for that term, you are going to see that I've written at least 2 blog posts talking about visa overstay. Anyway, I'll be talking more about that in the future. But right now, as Rebecca wrote, they disrespected our laws the moment they crossed the border illegally. Absolutely. Anyone who wants to come to the United States to live here, to work here for tourism, for education, whatever it may be, anybody who wants to come to the United States must follow our nation's immigration laws, must enter the country legally. And the folks who crossed the southern border illegally, yes, they disrespected our laws. And Rebecca writes, California can have them. Well, I'm going to be talking about California, but let me just catch up with the live chat window here. Terry writes, don't forget about the one who allegedly. Oh, yep, I saw that. I saw news reports on that this evening. So after I came home, I was going through the news updates and I saw that. As they were being released on camera, they made some really offensive gestures, okay, that were caught on camera. So let me move forward. As I said, I can't read the minds of the migrants, so I can't answer the question why they headed towards California. But let me tell you a few facts about California. California, it's a beautiful state, but it's also a sanctuary for undocumented immigrants. Now, for American citizens, life in California is becoming harder every day. And California, a sanctuary state, it's a popular destination for undocumented immigrants. And California also became the first state in the country to offer health insurance to all undocumented immigrants. So I think it was Sally, right? Sally, you wrote benefits? Exactly. California is now offering, I shouldn't say California is now offering, I should say that the far left politicians, the liberals in positions of power in California state government, they are offering undocumented immigrants health insurance paid for by American taxpayers. And so starting January 1, 2024, and actually this is February 1, 2024, so this is already in place. Starting January 1 of 2024, all undocumented immigrants became eligible for Medi-Cal. And what's Medi-Cal? It is the state's version of Medicaid for low-income individuals. So Medicaid is a program for low-income individuals. It's a safety net program. And to ensure program integrity, government must make sure that only those who have the need are able to enroll and get the benefits, right? There are individuals who are struggling, low-income people. They need help. And so it's a safety net program. But what the liberals in California are doing is that they are opening this program up to all undocumented immigrants. And who's going to pay for it? American taxpayers. American taxpayers are going to be paying for the benefits that the undocumented immigrants are now going to be receiving in California. Let me just catch up with the chat window here. Rebecca writes, it took nearly 2 years for my daughter-in-law to obtain a legal green card. She's shocked at what is going on. Rebecca, let me tell you, and I've said this before on my channel, that I have spoken with legal immigrants, so people who filled out the paperwork, waited in line, went through background check, paid the necessary fees, they completed all the documentation, they were patient, and they entered the United States legally to live here, to work here, to contribute towards the growth and success of our country. Those legal immigrants are not happy to see what's going on at the southern border. They are not happy because they went through the proper process to come to the United States the right way. And after coming here, they are working, they are contributing towards the economy, they are working hard, paying taxes. And so when those law-abiding immigrants see that millions of foreign nationals are crossing the southern border, entering the United States, going to New York, going to California, going to Denver, going to Illinois, and expecting free housing, free food, free legal aid, free medical services, the legal immigrants are not happy when they see that. And when I appeared on Fox News, on Fox and Friends for an interview, a live interview to talk about immigration issues, I mentioned that. And I also wrote this in an op-ed that unfortunately, right now, we have two pathways to enter the United States, one legal and one illegal. And this is wrong. There should be only one pathway for foreign nationals to enter the United States, and that is the legal pathway. Follow our nation's immigration laws, enter the United States legally. There should not be an illegal pathway. But because of the Biden administration and their policies, there's an illegal pathway to enter the United States, and to not only enter the United States, but to enter the United States and to expect free housing, free food, free warm clothes, free legal aid, free medical aid, and so much. And who's paying for all of this? American taxpayers. And so this is all because of Biden administration and their policies, and this is also because of all the far left politicians in state government and local government in liberal cities and towns and villages across the country who supported the Biden administration and their open border agenda. So local level, state level, federal level, the left-wing politicians are the reason why we have an open border today, and they are the reason why so many foreign nationals are coming into our country illegally. They are openly violating our nation's immigration laws. And look how bad the situation is. Undocumented immigrants are now allegedly attacking American police officers. That's why I said worsening crisis. This crisis keeps getting worse every single day. My friends, let me check the chat window here. Thompson polling group, I was born and raised in Chicago. Glad you're covering the story. Thank you for joining. And I talk about Chicago quite a bit. New York and Chicago are two cities that I have been talking about a lot, because it seems like every single day there's something going on in New York City and in Chicago that's just making this crisis worse. And so I am keeping my focus on Mayor Eric Adams and his liberal allies, and I'm keeping my eyes on Mayor Brandon Johnson and his liberal allies, and I'm paying attention to what they are up to in New York and in Chicago, and how they are taking money away from American taxpayers and giving free stuff to the undocumented immigrant. And that's why on this channel, you'll hear me talk about New York, you'll hear me talk about Chicago over and over and over again, because as I said, it seems that every day, every week, there's something new that's going on. They are making this crisis worse. And I want to make sure that I am bringing to you the latest information, as well as my commentary, my thoughts, my views on these issues. So thank you for joining. Let's see. One way is the only way to vet those coming. Absolutely, Terry. Because when foreign nationals enter the United States legally, they go through a proper vetting process. And so and let me tell you, the liberals may say that the United States is not a welcoming country. That's just wrong, because through the legal process, the United States welcomes 1 million. I mean, the United States grants green cards, permanent residency, to approximately 1 million people every year. And then every year, hundreds of thousands of people become naturalized US citizen. And I am a naturalized US citizen. I got my US citizenship in 2014. So I know about this process. And so the United States is a welcoming country. We welcome immigrants as long as they follow our nation's immigration laws, and as long as they enter legally and they follow the laws and rules of our country. They work hard, they pay taxes, they contribute towards the growth and success of our nation. The United States is a country of immigrants, but immigrants who follow the law and enter legally. We must secure the border and stop this influx of illegal aliens. let me look at the chat window again. Sally writes, I'm worried about the dangerous illegals. Absolutely, Sally. I think more and more Americans are worried about what's going on. There are so many people pouring into this country through the southern border. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they are coming from. We don't know anything about their background. And so that makes all Americans worried. Uh, Terry writes, yes, Sally, me too. So Sally, Terry agrees with you. Uh, Rebecca writes, law-abiding green card holders are some of the hardest workers I've ever known. Absolutely, Rebecca. People wait for years to get the immigrant visa. And once they come here, and before they come here, they have lots of paperwork to go through, interviews and stuff. And after they come here, they have to keep records of many things. How many trips are you taking outside the US? How many trips outside the US that you're taking is lasting more than 24 hours? Where have you been? And every time you move, as long as you're a green card holder, every time you move, change residence, go from one address to another, you have to let the federal government know your current. I mean, there's a long list of things that people have to pay attention to. They have to follow the rules. And when the time comes for green card holders to complete the N-400 application for citizenship, I have talked about that application for citizenship in various talks that I've done in front of different groups. I have shown examples of questions, and I've talked from my own experience. So um, uh, it, it, green card holders, they work really hard. I can't generalize and say every single one of them, but most green card holders, they go through a lot. They come here, they work hard, they follow the rules, they pay taxes, they try to learn the culture, the tradition of this country. They try to adapt, and they try to do their best to make this country greater than before. So and then a lot of green card holders, they go on to successfully pursue citizenships, and then they become U.S. citizens. And so they work hard. And when those green card holders and when those naturalized US citizens see what's happening at the southern border, and they see people pouring into our country, and people going to New York and Chicago and expecting taxpayer funded housing and taxpayer funded food and medical services and legal services. I mean, those legal immigrants, those green card holders and naturalized US citizens are very upset when they see the lawlessness at the southern border. And I've talked about legal aid. So Kathy Hochul, and I talked about this previously, I guess a couple of weeks ago, she proposed a budget in which she wants to allocate billions of dollars to deal with the migrant surge, and money would also be available for legal aid for the undocumented immigrants. I mean, think about it. Every American who's tuning in right now and listening to this live stream, if you have a legal issue, if you need to talk to a lawyer, I mean, guess how much that lawyer is going to charge you? I mean, lawyers charge you mostly by the hour, right? And it's hundreds of dollars per hour, depending on the complexity of your legal concerns. But that's the thing. If U.S. citizens, if they need a lawyer's help, if they need legal advice, they have to pay hundreds of dollars and thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. But Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, she wants to allocate taxpayer funds to provide legal aid to the undocumented immigrants. I mean, think about that. This is just unbelievable. But a lot of unbelievable things are happening in this country because of the extreme far left politicians. Let me look at the chat window here. Terry writes, Denver is reporting its needs 15% of its city budget for immigrant care. Terry, I have a lot to discuss about Denver, okay? I mean, I shouldn't even start talking about Denver during this live stream. I'm going to do a separate video just to talk about Denver and the failures in Denver. I mean, it's unbelievable. Denver is being transformed. Denver is being transformed because of illegal immigration. So it's unbelievable. So someone asked me, did you pay for your own attorney to become a U.S. citizen? So when pursuing citizenship, I sought legal advice from an excellent law firm, an excellent attorney, and of course, I paid for my own legal fees. So the legal fees that I had to pay, yes, I paid for those fees. And that's what people do. Immigrants who need legal advice, when they need to talk to a lawyer, they have to pay for the lawyer out of pocket, okay? But what Kathy Hochul is trying to do is to have taxpayer funds. She wants to allocate taxpayer funds to provide legal aid for the undocumented immigrants. Now, you asked, what is legal aid covering? I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. But I'm going to do more search on that to find out. So that's a great question. Thanks for your question. Sally writes, very important for Americans to stand together right now. Absolutely. And I think as Americans see the crisis that our country is facing, Americans are united because the undocumented immigrants, they are not just going to New York and Chicago and Denver and San Francisco and Los Angeles. They are spreading all over the United States. There are undocumented immigrants, large numbers of them here in Wisconsin, and we are not a sanctuary state. But there are undocumented immigrants here in our state, in Wisconsin. And so sanctuary state or not, undocumented immigrants are spreading all over the United States. They are going to urban communities, rural communities, everywhere. And so really, it's a concern for every village, every town, every city. You never know when your community is going to see a massive surge in the number of migrants who decide to pour in. And so when Americans realize that you're not really immune, I mean, this problem, this migrant surge can affect any community, anytime, people get concerned. And so as people become concerned, there's growing unity. And more people are saying, no, we cannot allow this to happen. We have had enough. We must secure the border, and we must stop this influx of illegal immigrants. And I know that there are many people out there who lean to the left. They are liberals, but maybe moderate liberals. And maybe they voted for Joe Biden because they didn't want to vote for Trump. But now they regret. Those moderate liberals, people who vote Democrats, but they're moderates, they're not far left, they regret voting for Joe Biden. So I will not be surprised if you see November 2024, if you see a lot of those folks deciding enough is enough, not going to vote for Joe anymore, and let's vote for Trump, assuming that Trump is the GOP nominee. And that may happen. And so, Trump may end up winning in a landslide. That may happen. People here in Wisconsin are frustrated. And Wisconsin happens to be a battleground state. It's, sometimes a Democrat wins a statewide election in Wisconsin. Sometimes a Republican wins a statewide election in Wisconsin. And so it can go either way. And, it's all about the moderates and the independents. And the moderates and the independents are seeing the permanent damage that's being caused by the liberal policies, by the policies of the Biden administration. And so a lot of those folks may decide no more voting for Joe. They're going to vote for Trump in November 2024. That may happen. And I'm hoping that happens. because people are sick and tired of seeing foreign nationals break our immigration laws and pour into our country and expecting free stuff. Okay. And also, as I was saying, I actually stopped looking at some of the notes that I have in front of me, and I decided to answer your questions, which I appreciate. So the more questions and comments you have, please write them. So Medi-Cal, undocumented immigrants in California are now eligible for Medi-Cal. And the program is funded by taxpayers, which means that taxpayer dollars are funding health insurance coverage for undocumented immigrants. Now, California has become a paradise for undocumented immigrants. It was once a great state for people who wanted to work hard and succeed. And there are still millions of Americans there in California who want to work hard and become successful. But the left-wing politicians in California have set up many barriers in the path to success for freedom-loving, hardworking Americans. For example, high tax and then government red tape. So high tax and government red tape create barriers to success. There are barriers that make it difficult for freedom-loving, hardworking Americans to succeed in a state like California. And those same politicians who are building barriers for hardworking Americans in California, those same politicians are creating incentives to attract undocumented immigrants to the state, such as offering health insurance to all undocumented immigrants. California is a mess right now because of the liberal politicians and their bad policies. Let me look at the chat window here. Okay. Sally writes, illegal immigration has been normal in California for a long time. Yeah, it has been going on for a long time. And so I don't know how California is going to solve this problem. You need strong conservative leaders in California, in the governor's mansion, as well as in the state legislature. But is that going to happen? I don't know. I mean, the people of California will have to realize that it's time to stop voting for liberals and to start electing conservatives. Only then change can happen. But because of how significant the problem is in California, the magnitude of the issue that the state is facing, it's going to take a long time for California to solve all their problems, the economic problems, as well as illegal immigration and homelessness. So good luck to California, but it's up to the people of California to stand up and say, that's it. It's time to elect conservatives because liberals have caused permanent damage to our state. So only the people of California can solve the problems that the state is facing, and they can do that by electing conservatives. Let me look at the live chat window here. Is it true food factories? I don't know. Cat007, I don't know the answer to your question, so I can't answer that. Sorry. Let's see some other questions. Will they start counting them for? Yeah, Terry writes, will they start counting them for increased representatives to Congress? Interesting question, Terry. I don't know. I know that the census just took place, right? And it's a 10-year process. I don't know, but I'm getting a lot of great questions today. Questions that would require some research for me to answer them. Terry writes, my brother in LA area say they are counting homeless, but can't verify they aren't counting from. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Yes, okay, federal aid. So, yeah, I think I may be talking more about representation in Congress and how this new population that has entered the United States illegally, how they may impact the different states and congressional representation. So great questions. I don't know the answer to all the questions, and I only try to provide information that I have verified, that because I don't want to make guesses and give you answers that may be wrong. So great questions. Even if I think I know the answer, I don't want to say it unless I have done enough research. So thank you for great questions and for sharing your thoughts and comments in the live chat window. I will be for a few days now, people have been asking me to talk about Hawaii and what's happening in the aftermath of the Maui fires. And so I have had quite a few people mention Hawaii during the live chat as well as in comments. And then I decided to do some research on the Maui fires and what's going on right now. How are the displaced populations dealing with the crisis, and did they found housing or not? So because I received a lot of questions and comments about Hawaii, I did some research and I actually published a video, a podcast episode. It's available on YouTube. I published it this morning, so you can check it out. So, that's the great thing about all your questions and comments. If I see that a certain topic needs to be covered, then I can either do a live stream on that at a future date, or I can just record a podcast episode or a video and publish that. So keep sending me your questions, keep sending me your comments, because that allows me to do more research and to create more content and share with the people. Let's see. So Terry is trying to answer the question that Cat007 asked. So thanks, Terry. Please share whatever information you may have. So my friends, I am not surprised by the migrants' decision to head to California, as has been reported in the news. 4 migrants arrested in California for allegedly attacking law enforcement officers were released from jail, and then they reportedly boarded bus to go to California. So I'm not surprised by their decision, but I am shocked. I am shocked to see what's happening in society. I'm a strong supporter of the men and women of law enforcement, okay? My friends who know me personally here in Wisconsin, they know that I'm a very strong supporter of the men and women of law enforcement. And Sally writes, Tausif, have you been to Maui? No, Sally, I have not been to Maui. And I mentioned that actually during my podcast episode. I think I mentioned it towards the beginning that I have not been to Hawaii, but it's on my list. But I have done some research to find out what's going on in Maui, and thousands of people displaced after the Maui fires, many still living in hotels, and it's a severe crisis that's going on. So please check out that podcast episode, because I've discussed quite a few important things about the crisis in Hawaii. As I was saying, I'm a strong supporter of the men and women of law enforcement. And it is shocking. It is shocking to see how undocumented immigrants have allegedly attacked members of the law enforcement community. And it's even more shocking to learn that the migrants were released from jail. And, what message does that send to the people of New York, to the people of America? I mean, that's why so many people are losing their faith in the judicial process. I mean, I respect the judiciary, the judicial process. But when people see things like this, that migrants accused of attacking law enforcement officers released from jail, and they are walking, and they are, as has been reported, that migrants, when they were released, some of them also on camera, they made some offensive gestures with their fingers, and it's just shocking. And when Americans see this, I mean, you know, what do they think about the judicial system, about the process? What do they think about the concept of justice? And that's why I say it's just shocking to see how these people were released from jail. And here's what Governor Kathy Hochul said. Here's the interesting part. Okay, let me talk to you about Governor Kathy Hochul, who, by the way, is not a great governor. I think her policies are very bad. Okay, let's just say that. I won't go into details. Governor Kathy Hochul of New York. She reportedly said that the migrants who hurt police officers should be deported. Absolutely, I agree with that. The migrants who hurt police officers should be deported. But should only those migrants who hurt police officers be deported? What about the other people? What about so many other illegal aliens who are here in the United States illegally? They crossed the southern border, they walked into our country, and they are here illegally. What should happen to them? Should they not be deported? So, I mean, I want Governor Kathy Hochul to kind of elaborate on who she believes should be deported. In her mind, what's the criteria for deportation? I want to hear her thoughts, okay? I want to hear Kathy Hochul talk about who she thinks should be deported and why. Because, based on what I have been following, the research, the news reports, I mean, her administration is spending billions of dollars on undocumented immigrants. And now she's saying that these migrants who hurt police officers should be deported. What about the other migrants who are here illegally? Should they be deported or not? I want Governor Kathy Hochul to answer that question. Is she going to answer that? I don't know. But I would love to see her answer that question. Let's see. A viewer writes, stand united and get our country back, Trump 2024. Absolutely. And I have said that on this channel during live stream, Trump 2024. I'm supporting Trump. And that's why I think, it's time for Nikki Haley, honestly, to drop out of the race and endorse Trump. And I don't know if she's going to do that. Is she going to wait until the South Carolina primary? I don't know. But I also highlight that Nikki Haley has a great future. I mean, she has been pretty successful in politics, and she can run again in the future. And she has a great political future, if you ask me. I think she can run again. But 2024 is not the year for Nikki Haley. This is the year for Donald Trump. And more Republicans every day are united to support Trump. So I think Trump 2024, as a viewer writes, absolutely, we must be united and we must support Trump. Terry writes, European countries learned their lesson and regret a couple years ago. Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously talking about the illegal immigration problems that we see here in America, but Australia has illegal immigration problems. I mean, they are a massive island. They're a continent. They're a country and a continent. So there are people who go to Australia using the sea by boat. So Australia has problems. Europe has illegal immigration problems, and there are many other countries in the world that have to deal with illegal immigration and border security issues. So, it's hard to cover all those topics, but I may do that in the future. A viewer writes, New York cop beating migrants released with no bail. Yeah, no bail. They're out of jail. So, that's why people are so frustrated when they see these news that, um, you know, um, people can get out of jail without bail so easily. This is just unbelievable what's happening in our country. And so what we are witnessing in the United States right now, I mean, we are seeing massive violations of our nation's immigration laws. And we are a nation of law. We are a nation of law and order. And it's just, it's shocking. Sometimes I don't have words to describe what's going on. And think about the public safety situation. Migrants allegedly attack police officers in New York. And just imagine how serious the situation is. And the question is, how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point? We are a nation of laws. We are a nation of laws and rules. You know, we have a constitution. We have laws on the books, and those laws have to be enforced. So how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point that millions and millions of foreign nationals are entering our country illegally? They are violating our nation's immigration laws, and now migrants are allegedly attacking police officers, and then they are being released from jail. How did we get to this point? It's because of Joe Biden's open border policy. We are witnessing the erosion of law and order. Sally writes Joe Biden. It's because of Joe Biden's open border policies. Joe Biden and his administration and their left-wing policies. Viewer writes, Trump wanted to secure the border. Trump worked really hard. Trump, from day one in office, Donald Trump worked really hard to secure the border. But then, remember, the Democrats, they set up barriers in Trump's path. Every chance they got. The Democrats, they tried to prevent Trump from securing the border. But Trump worked very hard. And now, as soon as the presidency changed, Joe Biden came to office, the border was wide open. And Americans are suffering today. Americans have been suffering since 2021 because of Joe Biden's open border policy. And let's not forget, it's not just the federal government. It's people like Eric Adams. It's people like Lori Lightfoot. It's people like, she was a former mayor. It's people like Brandon Johnson. It's people like Gavin Newsom, left-wing politicians who support open border policies, who support sanctuary city policies. Here we are. We are facing crisis. People in cities, towns, villages, in states across the country are worried because of open border policies and illegal immigration. Let me check the live chat window here. Yeah, Louis writes, our country is divided. There's a lot of division, obviously political division, ideological division in our country. But I think we also have to understand that there is growing unity also. And there's growing unity, as I mentioned, that the Republicans are united. As the days go by, the Republicans are united behind Donald Trump. Okay? Ron DeSantis endorsed Trump. Vivek Ramaswamy endorsed Trump. And so as Trump keeps getting more and more endorsements, and as presidential candidates dropped out and they endorsed Trump, I think Trump's support is growing. And as I said, I am sure that there will be people who voted for Biden in 2020. There will be people, I don't know how big that population will be, but there are people who voted for Joe Biden in 2020 who are not going to vote for Joe Biden in 2024. Some of them may just sit home because they don't want to vote for Joe Biden. They regret voting for Joe Biden, and they are sorry to see all his bad policies, everything that he has done since he came to office. They may be so sick of those Biden administration policies that although those people voted for Biden in 2020, they may not vote for him in 2024. So those voters may either just sit home and not vote at all, or they may decide, you know what? Let's look at the facts. Trump had a great economy. He worked hard. Consumer confidence was high. The market was doing well. Businesses were doing well. Trump was working hard to secure the border. So let's just vote for Trump because we missed those days. We missed 2018. We missed 2019. Things were great back then. So let's bring back Trump. So I will not be surprised if some Democrat voters decide to vote for Trump. That may happen. Let me look at the live chat window. A viewer writes there are still some that will still vote for Biden. Yeah, there are voters out there who just look at labels. They look at Republican versus Democrat, and they vote based on party line. And so there are voters who, if they decide that they're gonna vote for the Biden policies, no matter what, they're gonna vote for Joe Biden. They may just do that, and so that may happen. It's hard. So we look at all these polls, state by state polls and national polls, and polls are great. I think polls provide important information, but no matter how much you try, you can't really predict with accuracy what's going to happen because we are in uncharted territory. I mean the kinds of things we witness in politics now, we've never been in an environment like this. Anything can happen, and the electorate is different. And this is the day and age of social media. So information spreads very quickly and people react. And so what's going to happen during this presidential election cycle, we don't know. Anything can change anytime. There are just way too many variables. So we have to wait and see. But, it's always my goal on this channel to bring you the information that I think would be important to discuss. And obviously, I exercise my First Amendment right to free speech. I am very vocal, I'm outspoken, and so I like to share with my viewers my thoughts, my comments, my commentary. And obviously, as I keep saying, I want this to be a dialogue. So it's not just me speaking and sharing with you my views, but I want to hear from you. So I am very, very happy to see such excellent engagement today during the live stream. I read many messages. I've tried to respond to many messages and questions. Obviously, I've missed quite a bit, but I appreciate the fact that you're engaging, that you are sharing your thoughts with me, that you're asking questions. And when you ask questions, if I don't know the answer, I look forward to doing research and finding the answer. So thank you for your engagement. Thank you for staying connected. And I am going to be. It's almost like I've been doing this for 54 minutes now, and I know it's a long time. We're gonna get close to an hour by the time I end. I want to thank you all for joining. And so let me look at the live chat window again, and then if we don't have any further questions or comments, I'm going to be wrapping this up here very soon. So so a viewer writes that some will vote for Biden because they dislike Trump. I don't understand why people dislike Trump. Okay, I hear that. Some people say, oh, he tweets. I mean, don't you want a president who communicates? Don't you want a president who reacts in real time and shares his thoughts and views with the public? a president who communicates directly with the people through social media rather than sitting down for an interview that then gets edited before it's broadcasted? I mean, don't you want a president who reacts in real time? And that's what Trump did through Twitter, through social media. He expressed his views on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, sometimes several times in a day. He just typed his thoughts and he shared it with the world. And he was a president who communicated. So I know people complain about his tweets, but I love his tweets. I love the fact that Trump used to tweet. Now he communicates through Truth Social, but I love that. Now you may agree with Trump, you may disagree with Trump. That's okay. You have got your views, but I love the fact that during his presidency, he communicated with people. He was transparent, and people knew what was on his mind. There was a breaking news, and Trump would tweet and react, and so the people knew right away that, oh, there's some breaking news of international significance, and we know what our president thinks about it. So that's what I loved about Trump. So I understand that some people will vote for Joe Biden no matter what, just because they don't like Trump, but I like Trump. I'm going to vote for him. I'm looking forward to voting for Trump. And I love the fact that he was on social media and he was tweeting and communicating with the public in real time. And that is important for a president to do. Let me see. So someone writes here, I missed the name. Pathetic that our elected officials are more concerned with helping illegal immigrants and ignoring the needs of the citizens. So that is what I mention all the time. And thanks for that comment. Because yeah, it's unbelievable to see how liberal, far-left politicians, they are taking our tax dollars and spending the money, massive sums, billions of dollars, on the undocumented immigrants. They are more concerned about undocumented immigrants than they are about U.S. citizens. They are not concerned about U.S. citizens. They are focusing on undocumented immigrants. They have even forgotten the American citizens who are homeless, including many homeless veterans, because the liberals are busy focusing on undocumented immigrants. So that's shocking and that's sad, but that's what's happening. So Terry writes, I'm allegedly going to bed too. Terry, thank you. I'm going to end this. We are past 57 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it before we get to 60 minutes. Thank you so much for joining. I want to thank each and every one of you by individual names, but I may end up missing someone, but you know who you are. Thank you to everyone who joined this live stream and who wrote a comment or asked a question in the live chat window. I appreciate each and every one of you and your participation. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you for joining. It's been a great live stream, and I will be back again with more videos and more live streams. So please stay connected to my channel and tell your friends, your family members, and your neighbors about my channel. Ask them to subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and I'll be back again soon. Good night.